Bill Ingram for HOOPSWORLD TV here with Dallas Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle. And Rick, obviously a big year for you guys winning the championship. How tough is it to now have to wait for this process to play out to get a chance to defend that title?
Well, right now, we're a resourceful, resilient franchise, and we're finding ways to continue to connect with our fans, with our season ticket holders, and to stay engaged with basketball. And fantasy camps are one great way of doing it.
So you faced a number of challenges in your career. Not only, of course, you built a championship team in Detroit that you weren't the head coach when they won it, but right after you left. Indiana, you had to deal with the lockout, not the lockout, the suspensions and having to put a team together. How does, when you look at some of the challenges you faced in your career, how does winning a championship compare?
Well, the reason you're in this is to win championships, and I was fortunate to win one as a player. As a second-year player with Boston in '86, and that was a great experience. But 25 years later, when you go from being a team that was in the finals your first 3 years in the league to other teams that were at different stages, and then you get into assistant coaching and then head coaching, and along the way you're in a lot of different geographical places, a lot of different demographics, and those kinds of things, and a lot of different types of teams. To end up in a place like Dallas where you have an owner that's committed, you got terrific players, and you got a fan base that's second to none. Being able to win it is a phenomenal thing for our city.
Was coaching always kind of on your radar, or was that something that somewhere along the way as a player you decided coaching would be something you want to do?
Always interested me, and I felt that I wanted to pursue it at some point in time, but I never dreamed that I would get into it as quickly as I did. And my last go-round was with the Nets back in the fall of '89. I was on the team for a month, and I got a phone call one day from Bill Fitch saying basically, you're cut. And I started thanking him. He said, hold on. He goes, I only have one assistant. So if you're interested, I got an assistant coaching job. And so that was an easy choice for me. And that allowed me to get into the league. And, so I've been very blessed with kind of being at the right place at the right time.
Who was the coach that had the biggest influence on your coaching style, having you played for and worked with so many of the great coaches?
So many great ones. Bill Fitch is a Hall of Famer. Larry Bird, working with him was a great experience because that was the first time I really took on a higher level of responsibility as an assistant. But the guy that had the most influence was Chuck Daly, just because of his experience. He and I had a very close relationship, and then he tragically passed away due to pancreatic cancer a couple of years ago, and that was very tough for all of us that knew him well. But he touched a lot of people, myself included.
Finally, the discussion of the greatest players is something that is always kind of going around, and I know you and I would agree Dirk is certainly one of those. But how do you compare? People say LeBron is the great player. Different names come up. How do you look at trying to measure greatness in that way?
Well, you start with championships. Greatness is measured, obviously, statistically with what you can do on the court, but to a much greater extent with the success you have as a team. And being able to win a championship here in Dallas elevates our guy, who I can't name, to that pantheon of the 10 or 12 greatest ever, and he's very deserving.